Hello everyone, this is Ankit from Kailasha Foundation Fun and Learn portal. This is your Alligations chapter, and this is basically mixtures and allegations. To be precise, mixtures and allegations. In this chapter, we basically find out the questions like two or three things are mixed in the given ratio, and what will be the price of the new mixture obtained when the ratio is given and the price of all the ingredients per kg are known. Uh, these are the basic questions of this chapter, which are easy, but later on you get difficult questions also. And many students have requested, sir, please make the video of this chapter. So we are here with this video. At first, I'll tell you the formula. A1 is the price per unit or kg of first part, or you can say first ingredient. Okay, A2 is price of second ingredient, N1 is to N2, the given ratio of mixing. Okay, A is equal to, or in this book they have used AW. Okay, AW is the average price, average price. Okay, so basic formula is AW is equal to, basic formula is AW equal to N1A1 plus N2A2 upon N1 plus N2. Okay, this is the basic formula, very basic formula, which will help you in all situations when you forget the shortcuts, when you don't get the answer by tricks. This formula will definitely help you. Okay, and further, please take a note that if A1 and A2 are two prices, two different prices, obviously, if these are same, then the average is also the same. Not to worry, no need to solve. If A1 and A2 are same, then the average in any ratio mixed, whatever be the situation, the average prices will also be the same. Okay, but if A1 and A2 are different, which is the general case, which is the obvious case, okay, A1 and A2 are different, then conventionally assume, let us assume for developing formula, let us assume that A1 is less than A2. Okay, in all questions, so the lesser one will be A1 always, and the greater one will be A2. So AW will always lie in between these two. Okay, because it is the average in some ratio. Okay, no problem, but it is the average of these two, so it can never be greater than A2 or less than A1. Okay, it cannot go beyond these, it will be in between these two. Okay, got it. Now another formula, another formula for this situation is N1 upon N2 is equal to A2 minus AW by AW minus A1. You can obtain this formula from this formula, and this is a very important formula. Okay, with this formula you develop this. Let us first see question. 10 rupees per kg, two varieties of rice, 10 rupee per kg and 12 rupee per kg are mixed together in the ratio 1 is to 2. A1, A2, okay, N1, N2. So the first formula will give you N1 into A1. Okay, 1 minute. n1 into a1 plus n2 into a2 by n1 plus n2. Okay, so this will be 34 upon 3, that is 11.33. But this one, the second one, second formula, I told you what this will give you. You can do it mathematically by making like this: 1 by 2 is equal to 1 by 2 is equal to 12 minus AW by AW minus 10, and then solve the equation. You'll say, sir, this one is more difficult, this one is more complicated, but that is not the case, because you are not supposed to use this formula like this now. You are I'm telling you how you will use this. You will use it like this: 10, okay, 12 AW, and this will be N1, this will be N2. Okay, so here you obtain AW minus 10, and here you obtain 12 minus AW. This ratio is equal to N1 is to N2. Okay, so yes, this question involved decimals, so it was not convenient using this formula. The first one was good, but let me show you this question. Let me show you this question. On combining two groups of students having 30 and 40 marks respectively in an exam, the resultant group has an average score of 34. Okay, so 30, 40, 34. The difference is 4. The difference is 6. 6 is to 4 is the ratio, that is 3 is to 2 direct. Okay, yes, that's it. That's what I told you. The ratio, when you have to obtain the ratio, use the second formula. And when you have to obtain the average, use the first formula. Okay, when you have to obtain the ratio, use the second formula. And when you have to use the when you have to obtain the average, use the first formula. So the second formula is also a good formula, and this method works. It really works because it is quite fast. You can name it as a cross diagram or whatever. Now let us take a look at illustration number 3 on mixing two classes of students having average marks 25 and 40 respectively. The overall average is obtained is 30. Okay. The similar approach will be applied: 25, 40, and there is 30. So 5 will be here, the difference, and 10 will be here, the difference. 10 is to 5, that is 2 is to 1 was the ratio of the number of students of the classes. So the ratio of students is the number of students in the first class if the second class is 30 students. So this is 30. What will be this? 2 is to 1 is the ratio. So what is to 30? 2 is to 1 is the ratio. So what is to 30? Obviously 60. Let me tell this again. Okay. At first, read the question very carefully. On mixing two classes of students, so say N1 students are in first class, N2 students are in second class. We cannot obtain both N1 and N2, but we obviously can obtain the ratio of N1 and N2. Okay, so 25 and 40 students are there. 25 and 40 marks, average marks are the marks of the classes. Okay, with N1 and N2 students respectively. When combined, the average is 30. Okay, when combined, the average is 30. So it depends on the number of students, or you can say the ratio of number of students. What will be the average? So 30 is the average. The ratio obtained is 10 is to 5, that is 2 is to 1. So number of students is in the ratio 2 is to 1. Number of students is in the ratio 2 is to 1, that is the answer of the first question. Now they are asking the number of students in the first class if the second class has had 30. So this is 30 and this is what? Okay, so 2 is to 1 is what is to 30? Obviously 60. So 60 is the answer. Okay, let us first revise what we have studied so far. When you have to obtain average when two things are mixed, n1a1 plus n2a2 by n1 plus n2, this is the formula. And when you have to obtain the ratio, difference upon difference is the direct formula. Difference upon difference. Okay, and this diagram helps a lot. There's a1, there's a2, so n1 is to n2. This way it works. Okay, now the cross method becomes pretty effective in this situation when all the three averages are known and the ratio is to be found out. Okay, that's what I told you. Illustration for 4 kgs of rice at 5 per kg is mixed with 8 kg of rice at 6 per kg. 5 and 6 are mixed. Okay, so the quantities are 4 and 8, that is 1 is to 2. Okay, 1 is to 2. So 5 minus AW, 5 minus AW will be here. No, AW minus 5 will be here. Okay, because this one is the larger one and this one will be 6 minus AW. This is in between. AW is in between. So 5 is less than this and 6 is greater than this. 6 minus AW is the difference here. AW minus 5 is the difference here. Ratio of this and this will be equal to 4 is to 8, that is 1 is to 2. Okay. So now we have to obtain the average. But I told you to obtain the average use the first formula. So let this book use the second formula, but we will use the first formula. Okay. So what we will do, n1a1 plus n2a2 by n1 plus n2, that is 20 plus 48, that is 68, 68 upon 12, 68 upon 12, that is 5.66. Okay, you see the second formula in the first situation is complicated and the first formula in the second situation is complicated. So which formula to be used where is to be taken care of. Okay, now as for the students, solve through alligation formula approach and through the weighted average approach to get the solution. Notice the amount of, okay, no problem in that. We will just skip to the illustration number 5. 5 kg of rice at 6 per kg is mixed with 4 kg of rice to get a mixture costing rupees 7 per kg. Okay, this is not known. This is not known. Okay, no problem. So if this was to be obtained, then first formula. If this was to be obtained, then second formula. So now what we will use? Now you have to do the algebra thing. Okay, so whatever formula you use, you just have to be sure that this is your favorite formula out of the two. Okay, so make the diagram 6 7x 5 4 whatever. Now the difference here is 1. So 5 is to 4 is basically 1.25 is to 1. Okay, so this will be 8.25. That's how I solve. This is 5 is to 4 and the difference 7 minus 6 is basically 1. 7 minus 6 is 1. So if here is 1, 5 is to 4 is the ratio, so here must be 1.25. 1.25 is to 1 is 5 is to 4. correct? Now 7 plus this, it will be 8.25. 8.25 is the answer. And what they have used is this is 7 minus 6, and this is x minus 7. So they have used x minus 7 by 7 minus 6, that is 1, is equal to 5 by 4. X minus 7, 1 minute. X minus 7 is equal to 1.25. So x is equal to 8.25. Okay. Now, the straight line approach. As we have seen, the cross method becomes quite cumbersome in case 2 and case 3. Yeah, you see in illustration 4, uh, the cross method was mm, difficult. Okay, so we will now proceed to modify the cross method so that the question can be solved graphically in all three cases. Consider the following diagram, which results from closing the cross like a pair of scissors. Okay, this was a cross and we just closed it. Okay, let me show you. We just crossed this, we just closed this scissor and it became like this. Okay, this is what they are trying to tell you. Now we will now proceed to modify. Consider the following diagram, which results from the closing the cross like a pair of scissors. Then the positions will be this. Okay, no problem. Visualize this as a fragment of the number line with points A1, AW and A2 in the order from left to right. N2 is responsible for the distance between A1 and AW. Yes, this is responsible for this distance. Correct. And that means N2 corresponds for AW minus A1. N2 corresponds to AW minus A1. Similarly, N1 corresponds to A2 minus AW. N1 corresponds to A2 minus AW. N1 plus N2. If you do N1 plus N2, you will get A2 minus A1. N1 plus N2 corresponds to A2 minus A1. Okay. The processes for the three cases illustrated above can then be illustrated below. Now, on mixing two classes of students having average marks 25 and 40 respectively, the overall average obtained is 30 marks. Find the ratio in which the classes were mixed. Okay. So 25, 40 and 30. Here we got here N2 is equal to 5 and N1 is equal to 10. So 2 is to 1 and second class 60 students, no problem. The next illustration, 4 kg of rice at 5 rupee per kg, 8 kg of rice at 6 rupee per kg. What is this? 5, 6, 4 and 8. We simplified 4 and 8 and got 1 and 2. By unitary method, N1 plus N2 corresponds to A2 minus A1. So 1 plus 2 corresponds to 6 minus 5. 1 plus 2, that is 3, corresponds to 6 minus 5, that is 1. When 3 corresponds to 1, when 3 corresponds to 1, when 3 corresponds to 1, hence N2 will correspond to A2 minus A1 into this by this. Okay, or you can say N2 will correspond to N2 into 1 by 3, that is N2 by 3. So 2 by 3, that is 0.66. So the required answer, N2 is 0.66. N2 is 0.66. Then what? N2 is basically difference between these two. So 5.66, that's it. Let me tell you again. 1 plus 2, that is 3, is corresponding to 6 minus 5, that is 1. So when here is 3, here is 1. So 3 corresponds to 1. What will 2 correspond to? 2 will correspond to 2 by 3, because when there is 3, here is 1. So 1 by 3 is the case. So when it is 2, 2 into 1 by 3, what will be that? 0.66. Okay. Hence, N2 is equal to 0.66 and N2 corresponds to this difference. So when we add the difference 0.66, we get this number 5.66. Okay. But what we have learned so far, the two very basic formula and intelligent use of one formula in one situation and another in the other one is good. Okay, not much problem with that. Let us see the next question, and we will try to justify if still our approach is good or not, or we should use the approach told by them. Okay, this straight line approach is not necessarily important for us, because we know a very good method of solving the question that we already learned in this video only. Okay, so illustration 8, 5 kg of rice at 6 rupee per kg is mixed with 4 kg of rice, and price is not given, obviously X. To get a mixture costing 7 rupee per kg, find the price of the costlier rice. So 6 x 7 5 4. 5 minus 4 is 1. Okay, and 4 corresponds to this. 4 corresponds to the difference between 6 and 7. So 4 corresponds to 1. Okay, so 1 will correspond to, sorry, 5 and 4, 9 will correspond to, 4 corresponds to 1, 4 corresponds to 1, so 1 will correspond to 1 by 4, and 9 will correspond to 9 by 4, that is 2.25. Okay, 2.25 is what? 2.25 is difference between these two. Okay, so 6 plus 2.25, that is 8.25 is our answer. Okay, now we have a few questions listed and we have many approaches, and let me show you what is the best approach for which question. See this question we learned 2 3 approaches for this one. So 5:4 is the ratio, 1 is the difference here, so 5:4 is basically 1.25:1, and this will be 8.25 answer. This is the best one according to me. Now 4 kgs of rice at 5 per kg and 8 kgs of rice at 6 per kg, find the average of the mixture. Okay, so 4 into 5 plus 8 into 6 by 4 plus 8, that is the best and simplest. And this one, 5 kgs of rice at 6 per kg with 4 kgs of, okay, this one is already solved. And the students question, this one, on mixing two classes of students, this approach was good, no problem. Okay, illustration 3, this approach was already good, so no problem. So we have uh, decided what we will use in which type of questions. Some typical situations where allegations can be used. Given below are typical allegation situations which students should be able to recognize. This will help them improve upon the time required in solving questions. Although in this chapter we have illustrated problems based on allegation at level 1 only, allegation is used in more complex problems where the weighted average is an intermediate step in the solution process. The following situations should help the student identify allegation problems better as well as spot the way A1, A2, N1, N2 and AW are mentioned in a problem. In each of the following problems, the following magnitudes represent these variables. A1 is 20, A2 is 30, N1 is 40, N2 is 60. Each of these problems will yield an answer of 26 as the value of AWB. Yes, because these four are fixed, so answer will be 26. Answer will also be fixed. Okay, no problem. A man buys 40 kgs of rice at rupees 20 per kg. So 20 and 60 kgs of rice at 30 per kg. Okay, find the average price. So average is to be found out. So second method we will not use. We will use the first method. Direct formula. AW is equal to N1 into A1 plus N2 into A2 by N1 plus N2. So this is 800 plus 1800, that is 2600 upon 100, that is 26 rupee per kg. Pradeep mixes two mixtures of milk and water. He mixes 40 liters of first containing 20% water. So concentration is the thing whose average is to be found out. So 20 and 30 are the main values and average will be obviously in between these two. Okay. So N1 and A2 is the quantity. N1 and N2 is the quantity, 40 liter and 60 liter. So 40 into 20 again plus 60 into 30 by 40 plus 60 once again. The answer will be same 26. Okay. Two classes are combined to form a larger class. The first class having 40 students scored an average. So average score. So combined average score we have to find. Average score of first is 20. Average score of second is 30. So combined average score will be in between these two. So these are the main values and 40 number of students will be N1 and N2. So N1 is 40, N2 is 60. Some students have problem determining what is N1 and N2 and what is A1 and A2. They are confused. Some students do the question like this. This is A1 and this is A2, this is N1, this is N2. No, that is a blunder. Okay, you have to keep in mind what you have to find out. Average of what? Average of score. Average of score. So it can never be N1 and N2. It is A1, it is A2. So the remaining things will be N1 and N2. That you have to keep in mind. A trader earns a profit of 20% on 40% of his goods, a profit of 30, profit of 20%, profit of 30%, profit of 20%, profit of 30%. So combined profit. Okay, percentage profit on the whole. So combined profit. Okay, profit. So this cannot be N1 and A2. This is A1 and A2. Obviously the quantity, that is 40% of goods. This is N1, 60% of goods. This is N2. The average will again be 26. A car travels at 20 km average speed. So speed cannot be N1 and N2. Speed is A1 and A2. So this is A1, this is A2, this is N1, this is N2. 40% of the revenues of a school came from the junior revenues. Find the percentage increase in revenues of this. 40% of revenues of a school came from the junior class, 60%. If the school raises its fees by 20% for junior class and 30% for the senior classes. So revenue increment, the average of revenue increment is to be found out. So this is A1, this is A2, obviously the remaining these are N1 and N2. Okay, and then they have told some keys to spot A1, A2, AW, and differentiate these from N1 and yes, that is very important. That's what I was telling you. Okay, now there are questions. Before that, there's a typical problem. A typical problem related to the topic of allegation goes as follows: 4 liters of wine are drawn from a cask containing 40 liters of wine. Okay, there was 40 liters of wine in a okay, it is replaced by water. The process is repeated 3 times. What is the final quantity of wine left in the cask? What is the ratio of what wine to water finally? Okay, remember, 4 liters of wine are drawn and then water is added. In the first step, there is not much problem because the 36-liter wine and 4-liter water. But now these two are mixed. Okay, so now when you draw 4 liters, you don't draw out pure wine 4 liters. Water is also drawn. Some water is also drawn. Okay, that you have to keep in mind. So now you cannot do -4 and +4 like the previous step. Okay, so serious calculations will be there. If we try to chart out the process, we get out of 40 liters of wine, 4 are drawn out. This leaves 36 liters wine and 4 liters water, ratio of 9:1. This ratio becomes very important. Now when 4 liters are drawn out of, we get 3.6 liters of wine and 0.4 liters of water out. Okay, and then 4-liter water is again added. So total water is 7.6 and total wine is 32.4 because 2 times you added 4-liter water but 0.4 liter you also withdrew. Okay, so 7.6 liters of water is there and remaining is wine. Total is 40 liter, still total is 40 liter. Okay, further the process is repeated, drawing this wine and because now the ratio will change. This is not 9:1 again. The ratio is now 32.4 is to 7.6. So when you withdraw, it is 3.24 liter wine and 0.76 liter water. So 0.76 liter water you withdraw and now you add 4 again. Okay, so out of 12 liter water added, this and this total 1.16 liter water you withdraw also. So out of 12, yeah, if you subtract this, 10.84 liters is water and 29.16 liters is wine. This gives the final value and the ratio required. A closer look at the process will yield that we can get the amount of wine left by 40 into 36 by 40 into 36 by 40 into 36 by 40. Okay, this is a trick. This is a trick to find out the amount of wine left. Okay, say milk is there and milk is withdrawn and water is added, or any two kinds of liquid. The pure liquid was there and you started adding another liquid, so it became a mixture. So the pure liquid, remaining pure liquid, this formula works for remaining pure liquid when you are withdrawing equal quantities every time and replacing them with the new liquid. So whenever you withdraw 4 liters, 36 liters remain. So that's the formula: 40 into 36 by 40 into 36 by 40 into 36 by 40. That is this. And you get 29.16. Okay. How to understand this? Basically, wine left is equal to capacity into 1 minus fraction of wine withdrawn power n for n number of operations. Okay, you can also do 40 into 0.9 power 3 to get the answer. So once you get the remaining quantity of wine, you obviously know the quantity of water. Okay, so this is a very good problem, and this problem is usually repeated in all kinds of exams, so it will work for you. So thank you for watching this video. These are the questions for practice. uh, the students registered with us have this PDF. Okay, and other students can also get this PDF on request. You can send a request on 829 4600 over WhatsApp. Okay, not on call. You can send request over WhatsApp. You'll get a PDF, and you can solve the questions. Okay, so thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Happy learning. Bye bye.